The 12th Discourse. O you who are so poor! O you who are so afflicted with misfortunes! You must remember death and that which lies beyond it, for then your poverty and your misfortunes will come to seem quite unimportant to you, and it will be an easy matter for you to bid this world farewell. Accept this from me, for I have put this to the test of experience and have actually lived through it. The people wish for nothing other than the countenance of Allah, Almighty and glorious is He. They have arisen and left the gardens of paradise, and they have taken their stand in the presence of the Creator of the gardens. Their sides shun their couches, 32:16, as they go in search of His countenance and His good pleasure. They have become detached from their material possessions. Their commandment has come to them, closing their shops and causing them to go and live in the desert wastes and the empty spaces. They have no fixed abode. Their nighttime is not night, and their daytime is not day. Their sides shun their couches. Their hearts come to be like grains of corn in a hot frying pan, as they keep trying to pop out and escape from it. Their hearts are grains of corn in the frying pan of the contemplation of the day of resurrection, with its reckoning, its interrogation and its settlement of accounts. They are the sensible ones, the intelligent ones, the clever ones, the ones who really know this world and its inhabitants, who are really familiar with its snares, its bewitching fascination, its treachery, and its murderous treatment of its prophets. The hearts of the people have received the call, so their sides shun their couches. Their inner contents have heard, in the wake of the hearing of their outer forms. The birds have heard, along with the hearing of the cages. They have heard the words of the Lord of truth, Almighty and glorious is He in one of His revealed utterances. A liar is he who claims to love me, yet who goes to sleep and forgets me as soon as the night sets in. They would feel too embarrassed and ashamed to be guilty of this kind of inconsistency, so they have stood in His presence through the darkness of the night, humbling themselves and letting their tears roll down their cheeks. They have addressed Him through their tears. They have entered His presence in a state of fear and hope, fear of rejection and hope of acceptance. O my people! You must come to terms with this external rule of law. You must act in accordance with the Book of Allah, Almighty and glorious is He, and the Sunna of Allah as messenger, Allah bless him and give him peace, and you must be sincere in your actions. Then look and see what gracious favors and generous blessings you will receive from Him, and how you will enjoy the delights of intimate conversation with Him. O you who have committed such flagrant offenses! O you who have turned your backs, come forward again. O you who have run away, come home. Do not try to run away from the arrows of disaster. The idea of escaping is nothing but fantasy. Hold your ground, for then you will receive exactly what you need, both the bitter and the sweet. Hold your ground. If a thing is destined for some other person, it can never fall to your lot. The breasts of the champions of truth are strong enough to be targets for the arrows of disaster, but you are not worthy of them. They are not for you, and you do not experience them directly. You are merely followers. The eye of the head is for looking at this world, the eye of the heart is for looking at the hereafter, and the eye of the innermost being is for looking at the truth. The eye of the head is satisfied with this world, and the eye of the heart is satisfied with the hereafter, while the eye of the innermost being is always with the Lord of truth, Almighty and glorious is He in this world and the hereafter, because it is focused on Him in both realms. The believer is someone who has this peculiar quality. If he happens to be in a populous built-up area, he is a mercy to the people of that locality. Were it not for him, that whole district would sink into the ground. Were it not for him, the walls would come tumbling down on top of the people living there. You must give credence to such a person, you must believe in him. If you reject him and treat him with hostility, you belong in the company of those ignorant folk who killed the prophets and messengers, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon them all, and of those who showed enmity toward them and toward their Lord, Almighty and glorious is He, those outcasts banished and excluded from His presence. O Allah, relent toward us and toward them. Guide us aright and guide them aright. Ameen. O you who take such delight in the bounty of this world, you will very soon be leaving it all behind. How fine are the words of one of the poets, listen. You may just catch the sound. But do not delay. It will not wait around. All you want is to live a life of ease and comfort, but the end of all of this is death. Your property will very soon be gone, as will your span of life. Your eyesight will soon grow dim, your mental faculties will deteriorate, and your capacity for eating and drinking will diminish. You will see the pleasures of the flesh, but you will not be capable of indulging in them to the slightest extent. Your wife and children will come to hate you and wish for you to die. Care and grief will be heaped upon you. This world will depart and the hereafter will come to meet you. If you have a good deed to your credit there, the hereafter will bid you welcome and enfold you in its bosom, but if this is not the case, then the grave will be your lodging place and the fire of hell will be your custodian. What is this crazy delusion? As the Prophet, Allah bless him and give him peace, used to say, the way of life is the way of life of the hereafter. He repeated this over and over again, to himself and to his companions, may Allah be well pleased with them all. Learn from me, O ignorant ones. Follow me, for I am your guide to the path of right conduct. Woe unto you! You claim to be my disciple, yet you keep your property hidden from me. You are lying when you make such a claim. The disciple has neither shirt nor turban, neither gold nor money to his name in relation to his sheikh. He just eats at his table whatever he tells him to eat. He has no existence of his own, as he waits for his sheikh to tell him what he must do and what he must not do, because he acknowledges that this comes from Allah, Almighty and glorious is He. His best interests are being looked after by his sheikh, and he is held on a tight rein. If you harbor any doubts about your sheikh, you should not stay in his company, for it will do you no good to share his fellowship or become his disciple. When a sick person has doubts about his physician, he cannot be cured by his treatment. You must not focus your attention on things that do not concern you, in case you fail to notice what really does concern you. Things that should not concern you include those comments of yours about the states of other people and their faults. When a person is controlled by the lower self, the passions and the urges of nature, everything he says will be counted against him, not to his credit. He is like the proverbial idiot who gathers firewood by night, when he cannot tell what he may be holding in his hand. O young man! In your approach to this world, do not be like someone who gathers wood by night, not knowing what may fall into his hand. I notice that in your dealings you behave just like such a person, gathering wood on a very dark, moonless night, and taking no light with him. The ground there is sandy, covered with a lot of dense undergrowth. The place is teeming with deadly insects, so one of them could kill you at any moment. You had better do your wood gathering in the daytime, because the light of the sun will prevent you from picking up something harmful to you. Conduct all your affairs by the sun of the affirmation of unity, of the sacred law, and of pious devotion, for this sun will prevent you from falling into the trap of the desires, the self, the devil, and idolatrous creature worship, as well as preventing you from moving along too hastily. When the self becomes tranquil and tame, and when it is no longer affected by the fire of the passions and the urges of nature, the faculty of reason is jolted into action, and faith becomes strong. With the advent of tranquility comes discernment, the ability to distinguish between the true and the false. The person concerned will now refrain from falsehood and speak the truth. Then the rule of law will present itself to him, so he must act in accordance with it and become a servant to it, following the messenger, Allah bless him and give him peace, by observing what he has commanded and what he has forbidden, because he can hear the Lord of truth, Almighty and glorious is He, when he says, so whatever the messenger gives you, take it, and from whatever he forbids you, abstain. 59:7 This applies generally to all the commandments and prohibitions brought by the Prophet, Allah bless him and give him peace, so he must carry out what he has commanded and avoid committing any of the sins he has forbidden. Only then will he come to be a truly devout Muslim. Provided he really puts this into practice, he will come to be someone who has direct knowledge of Allah, Almighty and glorious is He, someone who knows how to stay calm and quiet, and to listen to what is said to him within his heart. He will reach the stage where he is always being spoken to, is always listening attentively, and is always in a state of bliss. O Allah, grant us the joy of your nearness, the delight of your intimate conversation, and blissful happiness with you, and give us in this world good, and good in the hereafter, and guard us against the torment of the fire. 2:201